Social distancing is a key recommendation of the World Health Organization geared towards mitigating the impact of the coronavirus outbreak on a global scale. This involves a demand on individuals to consciously maintain a distance of not less than 2 meters from other individuals at any point in time and in various situations. It is, however, difficult at this point to appraise the success or otherwise of this rule, given the diverse socio-economic circumstances of different countries and varying policy implementation capacity of different governments. Well, in Nigeria, the Center for Disease Control, the Federal Ministry of Health, and the government of Lagos State, which is the epicenter of this outbreak in the country, have been very assertive about the need for people to comply with the social distancing rule. But criticism has trailed this call from certain quarters, most of it emphasizing the squalid living condition of most Nigerians as a ready-made impediment to social distancing. For a conversation around this, we're now being joined by Seun Anikulapo-Kuti, a son of the late Afrobeat legend Seun Anikulapo-Kuti, an Afrobeat musician himself and civil rights activist. Welcome to the program, Seun.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the morning show. Quickly, first, let's have your take on the president's speech yesterday, because the president touched on some of the issues you have already addressed on your Twitter page. And were you satisfied with the president's intervention? Are you pleased with the various policy options that the president outlined, and the fact that finally he responded to public opinion and decided to address Nigerians and take charge personally?
Well, if I'll be honest, I would not say that was a comprehensive enough answer for Nigerians. Yeah, I'm happy they're finally saying that they are going to take into our own local situation. They're going to take it into consideration when they're now thinking about how they're going to respond to COVID. But for me, that just shows that the government is seriously not prepared, because coronavirus started on the 10th of December, right? So it's not as if this thing just sprung out in the world like 2 weeks ago. I believe that a proactive government, knowing that the virus was already, even in the beginning, was being discussed as a global issue, but you can see that there was no real policy or think tanks set up, in advance to think, oh, if this thing gets here, what do we do? So we, once again, Nigerians have to react to what the world is doing. We are not proactive. We are always reacting, and in that way, there's not enough time to come up with good enough policies. So our governments have to resort to last-minute fixes, or their usual favorite word of palliatives, to make people, kind of suffer in comfort and things like that. So I think, for me, really, there were not enough specifics in his discussion, and I feel for a Nigerian government official, where we know that everybody gives themselves the best, while they are there in office serving us, I think the service we should be receiving should be the best too. And this is far from the best. So that's where my own criticism of the president's speech lies.
There's a 2 minutes and 51 seconds video that has now gone viral of you, basically lambasting the Nigerian government's response to coronavirus pandemic. Let's take a look at that video and we'll be back to talk some more.
The people that created social distancing and isolation are Europeans. If you realize, the Chinese did not use this technique. They completely quarantined their people by force. But not only that, they were building one hospital every 6 days to get ahead of the virus, because many Chinese didn't have access to healthcare. So they understood that. So their response was completely Chinese. There was no, they knew what the Chinese, they knew what China needed, and they did what China needed. So the thing got to Europe, and Europeans looked at their society and came up with social distancing and self-isolation, because they understood that that is what will help Europeans. Europeans don't have communities that don't have water. Do you understand that? Europeans don't live in face me, I face you. The homeless people in Europe, as you know, the homeless they've put them in shelters. Social distancing and self-isolation is a completely European and Eurocentric response. Europe doesn't have slums. They don't have slums in Europe, where people live in pan next to each other, where gutter water is passing through each other's houses. They don't have that. They don't have communities where there's no water. People have to buy water in Africa to survive. Some people don't even have money to buy the water. Now, Europeans that have asked their people to also self-isolate has created different kind of funds to put in their pocket. We Nigerian professionals that are shouting social distancing and self-isolation, how many of us can survive 2 weeks without hustling, without getting on the street to find our daily bread? These are the same people that complain that I'm talking. They're the same people that are not coming to my DM and start begging me for money to eat after they've been locked in their house for 1 week. By forcing hungry, if the government is forcing poor Nigerians to choose between death by COVID or death by hunger. This is not a response. This is not a response. African leaders all over the continent give themselves the best in this world. They ride in the best cars, they wear the best clothes, they live in the best homes, use the best healthcare, have the best security. Their children go to the best school in the world, not in the country, the best schools in the world. They give themselves world-class services with our Commonwealth.
Well, there you have it, Seun. I wonder if you would take any of that back now after the president's speech, like Dr. Abati had asked earlier. But most importantly, you highlighted local realities and the need for us to tailor our responses locally. Social distancing is very important. Health experts all over the world have said, if you do not move, this virus does not move. So what would be your suggestion for that locally tailored response for Nigeria?
Bathing is also important, you know. I think bathing, brushing your teeth, these are like the basic sanitation and hygienic exercises that people have to do to kind of survive in any kind of situation, you know, more so one that involves a pandemic of this scale. You know, for me, it is not even little things. The Nigerian government should have realized in advance that the ratio, the WHO approved ratio of doctor to patient in the country is 600 to 1, I think, and like most advanced countries have. And in Nigeria, I think it's about 3,500 or 4,000 people to one doctor, you know. And that for me is a real issue, because if you look at this whole, even this coronavirus thing, what is really stressing them out in the West and in other parts of the world is not the disease itself. Yes, the disease is bad, but it's the volume of patients. So the doctors, they don't have enough doctors to cope. They don't have enough beds to cope. This is even in advanced nations. So they're asking people to please stay away from each other, don't transmit the virus, because we are being overwhelmed in the hospitals. And these are countries with 600 to 1 ratio doctors. So me, I'm looking at my country, where the 3,000 to 3,005 to 1 ratio, we, the upper middle class, well off, we have already taken more than half of those doctors and stocked them in our private hospitals. So I was expecting that the president would say something like, there's no more private hospital in Nigeria at this point. Every hospital has to open its doors to every citizen of Nigeria to come in and get the help that they need. From every bed should be mobilized. I mean, we have empty hotels everywhere. But because these things belong to their friends, you know, the death of poor Nigerians does not mean, you know, we have to lose money. You know, everything is at the bottom line. So for me, these are the more advanced solutions that I was waiting to hear, because we have many empty buildings. They are going to build tents for people in 110-bed isolation center. Yes, that is okay, but it's the minimal. Because what if 20,000 Lagosians get it? We have to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And that's how every government must be run. Anything other than that is lip service and just trying to make people feel good about themselves.
Well, Seun, I listened to the video, and you know, I share most of the concerns that you expressed. But about social distancing, the point about this coronavirus is that there are lessons that we can learn from other jurisdictions. And this is a tested technique of social distancing, of a response to coronavirus. And of course, the experts under the umbrella of the World Health Organization are the ones recommending some of these measures that have been taken. But in terms of supporting Nigerians, I mean, President Buhari has announced conditional cash transfers. He has talked about other measures that have been taken by the Central Bank and the Federal Ministry of Finance. And he also talked about, relief for persons who have taken loans from the federal government, either farmer money or market money or trader money or whatever money. So that was why I think, Adesua asked you whether you think that the president already addressed some of these concerns. But I don't think that you have fully answered our question about if you say we should have homegrown solutions. If you say we should have homegrown solutions, well, if you say we should have homegrown solutions, what are those homegrown solutions? Is there a role for pastors and imams that you think may be relevant? Or do you think that homegrown solution will be traditional rulers, as some people have suggested, carrying out rituals to cleanse the Nigerian society? Because some people, in this heat of coronavirus, have been making all kinds of suggestions. And are you saying that we are not really, we don't need social distancing? Is that what you are saying?
I never said we don't need social distancing. There's no part of what I said that means social distancing doesn't work. I'm saying it is impossible for some people to practice. Especially, okay, what about buildings where people share the same bathroom, people share the same toilet? How do you isolate and also perform this social distancing? In communities where people live like this. In communities where people in one square meter, you might find 2 or 3 families sharing that space with one little pan, just dividing their one apartment where everything is. Two generations of families might be living in one of those buildings with uncles, aunts, and things like that. So for me, it's not even really about the fact that social distancing works or it doesn't work. The fact that it works is a fact. If you don't touch me, I can't get what you have. Fine. But I'm saying the ability of people to be able to perform it. How big are some people's homes? You want to be locked in your little, when people live in big mansions and they say they're isolating, it's not the same as living in, you and your family is 6 people deep and you have only 1 room and 1 parlor. Staying like that for 2 weeks is not the same experience as living in a house of 13 rooms with only 5 family members living there, and doing all their viral videos. So I think the experiences are all I was saying is that all Nigerian experiences should be taken into full consideration. And also about the farmer money and all these people that have, these are a minority of Nigerians. So this is what I keep saying, we always, bring up these little things that we're 100 million deep in poverty in this country. How many people are linked to farmer money? How many people are doing on it? Many people in Nigeria that are poor survive on their own. Let's face that fact. They don't survive, they don't have any kind of institutional support. Let's not start acting as if since coronavirus started, all these poor people suddenly have some institutional support. No, it's a real minority of Nigerians that have this support. So even when Governor Fashola was saying they're going to give 200,000 families food in Lagos, maybe that's going to comprise of maybe 1 million people at most in these 200,000 families. But the people suffering in Lagos are way more than 1 million. So should we be happy that the majority of the suffering people will just be left by the wayside? So these are the things that we don't bring into the argument. For me, yes, it's fine, but we have to agree that this thing is for the minority of Nigerians, of Nigeria's poor, and the majority of Nigeria's poor will be left on their own. And that's my own issue. It's not the issue of whether social distancing will work. Definitely it will work for people like me. It will work for the workforce that keeps operation going in Nigeria. So they want to keep their workforce safe, keep themselves safe. So fine, social distance and that. But then the poor people. So in that video, it didn't get to the end. I said malaria has been relegated to a poor people disease in Nigeria. If my daughter has malaria, she gets a shot, I can afford it. She goes to the good hospital, she's healed, she goes home. She's fine, but poor people are still dying of malaria in Nigeria today. So this is what coronavirus is going to become, and that's not what I want to see, where the rich people and their workforce can easily get the help that they need because they can afford their own comfort within oppression, while millions and millions of poor people are just left to be eaten up by the thing. Polio is back in Nigeria, but I'm sure no rich man's child is ever going to catch polio. So these are the things I'm saying. It's not about whether social distancing works or it doesn't work. It's that it's not viable for the majority of Nigerians. And for those people that it's not viable for, there are things that we can do to make it possible for them to perform this social distancing. We can go to their communities and put mobile toilets so they don't have to meet in the same toilet every morning. Put mobile bathrooms. But these are things on an epic scale. These are not things we start thinking about today. I mean, coronavirus has not suddenly hit our government and said, okay, while this thing is going on, let's start renovating our hospitals. Let's start putting more beds. I live very close to General Hospital in Ikeja. No major construction is happening there, like they are building new wards. No, they are putting tents as if once coronavirus is over, our healthcare can cope with the, was good anyway. The healthcare is fine. This is not the opportunity for Nigerians to improve the healthcare dramatically, to start meeting our real standards and our real needs. But no, everybody wants this temporary fix, and then they blame Seun for saying what is happening,
Seun, I do share your sentiments, and indeed we should learn lessons that will change us for the better, even after coronavirus. But let me ask you, because this is not a fight for the government alone. No government can fix all of this alone. And we have seen all over the world artists who are using their voices, their platform, their resources to donate to this cause, either to educate or indeed to give financial assistance, like we have seen in Nigeria as well. I wonder if you're doing anything in that regards. Are you collaborating with any of the agencies? Are you doing this individually? Songs, monies, awareness campaigns? What exactly are you doing?
Because I've come to understand that charity is the way, oppression is oppression is tempered in society, and people are made to feel good about themselves, even though they are, really horrible underneath. So that being said, I believe in being active in your community. I don't believe being active in your community means you have to come on social media to start making noise about the things and how you engage with your community. I believe that it takes a village to raise the child, and my child is only as safe as my community. So I really spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of my resources in my community, making sure that, people, especially the people around me that I know that cannot help themselves, because me, I can't help everybody. But the people around me that I know that cannot help themselves, I make sure we are doing the best for them right now in our neighborhood, for me, that's what's important, and we all have to look out for one another, because this is a country where we are being raised to be individuals, and it doesn't fit our African, how would I put it, our African genetic makeup. Africans were highly social, and we are the ones that really look after our elders. And this is the thing this is what I mean, like when I say Afrocentric approach, coronavirus is really something that kills our elders. So, and in the African tradition, taking care of your elder is your responsibility, and this is the time that, we need to re-embrace those parts of us that can help us also defeat this virus, and realize now, in the world where we pay footballers, more than nurses, maybe the world can start realizing that, okay, what if the nurses stop, because football has stopped for over almost a month now, nobody's dead. What if all the nurses stop working right now in this world today? What is going to happen to everybody? But we pay them more. So the world doesn't understand value anymore. Value is, is mixed up with, entertainment and all of that. And people expect people like me who are musicians to come and be solving world problems for black people only, though. This is only a black people thing. Where are the Nigerian microbiologists? Where are the Nigerian virologists? Where are they? We've graduated thousands of them from the university. But the Nigerian system has sent them to event planner, to event planning. They've sent them to become chefs, bakers, tailor, fashion designer. One day even our health minister was boasting of how his tailor is a doctor. So this is the Nigeria that we have created, and this is really the world that we've created. So I think this coronavirus is a wake-up call, and I think we need to actually start reassessing what value really is in this world today.
Well, you didn't answer a part of Adesua's question, whether we're going to get a song from you on this coronavirus.
No, me, I'm not really thinking about, capitalizing off coronavirus yet, a song. But I'm writing my album at the moment, so I don't know, maybe I'll touch it in one of the topics when the album comes out. But I'm not going to say, because there's coronavirus now, to go and make a song in the studio. And, no, music is more sacred than that.
Let me ask you, about 2 hours ago, I checked your Twitter handle at Seun Kuti. You tweeted that President Buhari should not have ordered a lockdown of Lagos, Ogun State, and the Federal Capital Territory. And you've made a complaint about this not being a military situation. But don't you think that extraordinary times like this require extraordinary measures? And that
extraordinary measure like the government just announcing that they are starting project on 50 new hospitals in Nigeria, extraordinary measures like we are suddenly, getting serious welfare packages and the social benefit of Nigeria is sorted, and they are doing emergency meetings and plenary in the assembly to make sure that these bills are passed, to make sure that our education is brought up to standard. I mean, these are the extraordinary measures. I mean, it's only to lock us down in our houses. Is that the only extraordinary measure that they can think of? This is what I say about the rich and powerful in Nigeria, There are extraordinary measures as long as it's to make the poor man suffer. Yeah, they can sacrifice, poor people can sacrifice, But tell them to sacrifice, they'll be dashing you 200 million naira for battling COVID. Something that's not up to $500,000. Even Jack Ma Messi gave €1 million. The richest people in Africa are giving us 500,000. After they've made billions on our back.
To everybody. Airports have been shut down. Private jets will not also be allowed to fly during this season. And, the whole point is about containing the spread of coronavirus. Stay at home. That's the message. And the president echoed that a lot. I don't see how that is illegal. But do you think it's illegal? I'm
not saying it's illegal, but to say, total lockdown and people should not go out and things like that, I think people are not stupid. This is another thing. African people are not stupid. We are not dangerous. We are not criminals as they want us to believe. We don't like chaos, but we want to survive. We want to be alive, and we are not stupid. If somebody is in his house and he gets hungry, he will come out. This is natural. So don't tell people that for acting natural, they are defeatist or they are indisciplined or they are lawbreakers for answering the call of nature. What about people that don't have toilets in their house? That have to come outside and walk to the bridge. We see them every time to defecate from the bridge into the water. We see them all the time. So now what is the government suggesting? That you should be shitting where they are sleeping? I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's easy for our governments to say the people should sacrifice, but when are they going to sacrifice? When are they going to sacrifice? When are we going to see some sacrifices coming from the top of Nigeria down? Every time is Nigerian people sacrifice, Nigerian people sacrifice, Nigerian people sacrifice. You people too up there, sacrifice something down. You've amassed billions of dollars, sacrifice half of it now. So, okay, we've seen that this our accumulation of wealth is detrimental to the development of our country. We too want to sacrifice $3 billion. Let the world shake. No, it's Nigerian people. Sacrifice. What you don't have, sacrifice. The one you have, sacrifice. The one you go and borrow. Wait till see. Uncle Ruben, I'm one of the first people in this country to catch COVID. Economic COVID is real. I lost almost $200,000 in the first week of COVID getting to Europe and America. All my shows, my tours, everything were cancelled. I didn't come on social media to start lamenting and crying, and I took to my, and I understood, I did what I have to do because I'm still not the worst of Nigerians. This is still nothing. All I've lost is money. We have to make sure that people don't lose lives. And not like the people that we know that can be saved, but those people that are most vulnerable. This is where we need to be at where our people are most vulnerable. This must be our priority. And they had since December. This is my own problem. We've had since the 10th of December to figure this out. What was Nigeria doing? We were doing Amotekun arguments. They did Amotekun. In fact, after the first victim entered this country, the APC were having a power struggle with Adams Oshiomhole, the chairman of the party. They were having a power struggle. Even Asiwaju wrote a rejoinder using COVID to describe his party members. So this is what I'm saying. I think the thing was in Nigeria, it was not priority. Until, now they don't act like it's priority, the world will come and they will see them for what they are. Everybody is running around doing the barest minimum and acting like, they are moving mountains. No. Some of us see through all of that. We see through it. Save these people, save them, do the real things. Let's save these people.
And questions that demand answers, but very quickly, let me just ask you this, because if you could hazard a guess of what the reaction of the great man, your late father, would have been to this crisis, what would it be in 20 seconds?
My dad would say everybody should go and drink and go straight. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you don't have a go at home at this moment, you have problem, because very soon, all now these imported drugs will not be available anymore. This is what the rich people are doing. They are hoarding. This government, this is what I'm saying. This government has never even put rationing in place. You see the inequalities in our society. No rationing. See the way the people are buying things, go in the shop, or only one person will just load one whole van of everything inside the shop. So people cannot even afford to buy one thing in that same shop. So this is what I'm saying. All the medicine, people are going to pharmacies, loading their house full of all the medicine, packing all the medicine. Very soon, the medicine will finish. We can't import. They say everything is blocked. People will be queuing for medicine. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen, you know? So there's no rationing. Prices in the market flying up. Government has not, Buhari in his speeches did not put pricing policy. Say, no goods must go up. Everything must revert to the prices that they were before March 1st. You know, what's going on here? Sanitizer, everything, everybody just increasing price. No government policy to check that. No extraordinary measure, because it is really their friends at the bottom of that making that real extra money. You understand? So this is what I'm saying. Where are the real extraordinary measures? Not be to lock inside my house, the extraordinary measure. They can't lock hungry people in the house.
Thank you, Seun. Thank you very much.